Welcome to Category 5 Technology TV. Great show lined up for you. Why are you playing with your phone?
It's not my phone, it's my wife's phone, and I've got to upgrade her, but the SIM card won't fit.
Yeah.
Because it's a newer phone, so what am I going to do, Jeff?
Well, it's a good thing that we've got an unboxing with a product that's going to help you be able to change your SIM on the fly at home without having to go to your cell phone provider.
Will I lose my phone number?
Well, hopefully if you do it right, you won't.
Whew.
Look at that.
Let's hope I do it right.
As well, you had a poll this week on Twitter.
We were finding out whether Alexa is creepy or kind of
clever.
Cool. Kind of clever.
And as well, again, with the GIMP tutorials, we've got another one that's going to help you do some white balance when there's absolutely no white within your picture.
That's impossible, Jeff.
It's not impossible.
What?
It's very probable. We're going to find out how. Stick around.
This is Category 5 Technology TV.
Our live recordings are trusted only to solid-state drives by Kingston Technology. Revive your computer with improved performance and reliability over traditional hard drives with Kingston SSDs.
Category 5 TV streams live with Telestream, Wirecast, and Nimble Streamer. Tune in every week on Roku, Kodi, Plex, and other HLS video players. For local showtimes, visit category5.tv.
Category5.tv is a member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. cat5.tv/TPN and the International Association of Internet Broadcasters, cat5.tv/IAIB.
Welcome to the show, everybody. So great to see you. Thank you for being back with us again this week. I ran a poll on Twitter this week, and the question that I asked had to do with Amazon's Echo device, which is what I'll call it. I'm not going to call it by name because I don't want to set off yours. Here was my tweet with that little edit. Last night, my wife and I had some fun asking Amazon Echo about the fiber content of various foods. Today, on Amazon, I'm looking at single-board computer cases, and there's an ad mixed in for a cereal called Fiber One. Creepy or clever? Sasha?
Did anybody say clever?
What's your thought?
Well, it depends on how I'm thinking. I think it's clever of them, but it's really creepy.
It stems from, you're a vegetarian, so
Yes.
you understand that you need to kind of watch, where you're getting your fiber, where you're getting your protein, and things like that. So we had this kind of fun conversation with Amazon Echo, saying how much fiber is in broccoli and potatoes and all these various foods, right? So then the next day, like in amongst cases, like computer cases. For my Raspberry Pis and my Pine 64s and my Odroids. There's an ad for Fiber One cereal. Creepy or cool?
Well,
so
you said creepy or clever, not cool.
Creepy or clever? Creepy or cool?
I think it's clever. I think it's a creepy sort of clever, but it's clever. Like, I think that it's too obvious to be subtle. Like, it's not subtle, right? It's like we were
Becca,
listening
my wife,
to you.
said maybe it's just a fluke.
Not a fluke.
Come on now.
No, it's too obvious. It's like,
It's targeted advertising.
Sure.
It totally makes sense. It's clever. I mean, you are doing a search through your assistive device. That is recording that information, providing the information. It's
recording. Hear this? He's making it sound ominous.
Well, but it is. It's taking what you're saying, it's using it to create a web search.
Learning from my use.
Yeah. And then from there, it's creating this log of what you've searched up. It's no different than if you Googled it.
Sure.
It's doing it without a keyboard. So then the next day you go on and, hey, you get a targeted ad. It's no different than looking for something on Amazon. Suddenly you're seeing products pop up in web ads on other pages. It's totally fine.
Dave, in our audience, creepy or clever?
Is it creepy or clever?
Amazon.
You think it's clever?
He thinks it's clever. Dave, everybody here in the studio thinks this is pretty clever. In our chat, so you see over there on Discord, on our Titan Pi, that Noman5 says, howdy y'all, creepy.
It's not creepy. It's advertising.
It's obvious. Why would you think it was creepy? That's the thing.
What's creepy is when you have a conversation with somebody, suddenly that pops up as an ad on Facebook. That's creepy.
No. That did not happen, to be clear.
I know, this
was a conversation not with a person. This was not me and my wife conversing with one another. This was me and my wife conversing with Amazon Echo.
A computer.
A supercomputer.
A computer that logs your search history. At the end of the day,
that is linked to Amazon.
Any search you make, whether spoken or typed, it is a search history. It's going to be in your database. So it's totally clever. It's great.
So I have Spotify.
Yes.
And I have Spotify Premium. And the Spotify Premium has this thing where they're sending me.
It learns.
Right. And they're sending me, what is the Google one? What is it?
A Google Home Mini?
Yes.
Okay. What is the Google one?
If she was a robot, she would know that answer.
She goes, what is the Google one? And I just somehow know.
It's like somebody's like, you know that doohickey? Oh, you mean?
Right.
Oh,
okay.
yes. Somehow
so
Robbie's
Spotify
just...
is gifting us one of these.
Oh, fantastic. Dave,
Right?
congrats.
What?
This is great.
Nobody gifts me anything.
Yeah, so I
come
think
on now.
because they want to know more of what I'm thinking, they don't realize I'm going to turn it off except when I need it to listen to me.
That's what I said, too.
Yeah.
Amazon's Echo has a mute button, but I find, I don't keep it in the bedroom. I don't put it in the bathroom. It's in a communal area of the house where we can ask it for recipe ideas and how long does it take to cook a turkey and all those kinds of things and how much fiber is in my potato.
Single board computer.
Apparently.
Zucchini.
But everybody here says it's clever. I think it's pretty clever.
Yeah.
But I think you mentioned Spotify, so that makes me think about Netflix and how when I'm watching Netflix, it learns from my viewership what kind of stuff I like. So now, when it makes recommendations, what does it say? It doesn't say, so many people, 96% of people said this was a good show. No, it says this is a 96% match. So now all of a sudden, Netflix is telling me, you'll probably like this show.
That's how we pick our shows. I'm like, it's 98%, like, for sure we'll like it. I trust Netflix. I trust that they know what I'll like. And I will watch it, and it probably has skewed my judgment.
And that's the world we live in.
I have found Netflix has not been great with me.
That's because your kids have access to your account.
Bingo. That is exactly
I experienced
the issue.
And I gave them their own accounts.
Right? It was like, why is this popping up? Oh, right. The kids have been on here.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So I still have to teach Netflix.
Netflix, Spotify, Amazon, Google, creepy or clever.
It's marketing. I know that I have typically been like the naysayer and the conspiracy theory guy.
Yes, absolutely. This is him.
But this is just basic
Jeff.
advertising.
Right.
That's all, like taking the fact that you're using the device out of it. It's nothing more than logging and advertising.
Sure.
That's all it is.
Yeah, if it weren't so obvious, it would be creepy. But because it's so obvious, it's clever.
What would be creepy is if you weren't using the device. And then, like, if you were just having a conversation about fiber content in food, but you didn't ask the device, and then the next day it popped up. Then I would go, vindication!
But that didn't happen.
That's not what happened.
That did not happen. So to be clear, this was a discussion with Amazon Echo.
Right.
And whatever you want to call it, was very helpful.
Sure.
Very informative.
What
and now
had the
you know
most
where to
fiber?
get cereal.
I can't remember. I'll just ask it again. My kids say, you trust Amazon Echo more than you trust me. My daughter says, I told you the answer to that, and yet you're asking Amazon Echo.
Well, she probably asked Amazon Echo 3 minutes before you did.
No, she's genius.
Yeah,
My kids are geniuses.
She's really smart.
They just know the answer, but then I'm like, let me test that. Not that I doubt you, child, but I just need to check the internet through a vocal search.
So that's like GPS. I use Waze all the time, and I'm trying to prove Waze wrong, and I just can't do it.
Can't do it?
No.
I don't use Waze. I use Google Maps.
Waze starts with Google Maps as a base and then adds more user input, so it's better.
The Foo says it's clever if you expect it, Jeff. Creepy otherwise. For example, if you are pregnant and you don't actually know it, but then you start getting ads for pregnancy.
You know what? That's an algorithm.
Maternity clothes.
Okay, so they did that with me.
No.
So, no. So, I recently got married.
Yes.
I changed statuses.
Oh, so
and
they start
everything.
showing you diaper ads?
And it's like an algorithm. They know my age. They know my marital status.
Amazon
then they
is like,
assume,
what's next?
At this point, like, come on, Sasha, it's been a while. Why aren't you pregnant? I don't know. Like, they send you
Sure.
ads. So, like, for a while, I was getting some maternity stuff, and I was like, this is kind of weird.
And then
was
all of a sudden it
because
changed to
Dave
Fiber
was
One.
searching- Or is it because Dave was searching for baby stuff?
And it's funny you should say that because, like, that aside,
He's in the studio. He's like,
he's giggling.
Weston, what is up with you?
That aside, I had a friend who said, I'm on the internet, and suddenly I'm getting all these ads for tattoos.
Okay.
And I said, okay, hold on, back up for just a second. Let's understand what's happening here. Who's your internet service provider? And she says, oh, well, I get my internet from the folks upstairs. Right?
There you go.
So turns out the guy upstairs was looking for a new tat and was searching for it. And because they're on the same IP address, of course, her ads start becoming
Let's hope she
tattoo-related.
wasn't like, I don't know, searching anything that she didn't want ads for upstairs.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you want to
Well,
keep
it
it
would
private.
cause her to think about that, though. Knowing that
Right.
what she searches could show
Once
up
you
up there.
start
Well, I
realizing
wonder that
it's listening
in my-
to the IP address.
Right.
Sure.
In my course, I'm learning about some very interesting disorders and diseases, which I search
Yeah.
so that I can do, presentations and
guys.
projects and such. Like, I'm pretty sure that Google thinks that I'm dying 1,000 deaths of 1,000 different things.
I said to my wife, who is an author, by the way, are you sure you want to Google when you're writing this murder mystery? How do you murder?
Good point.
How do you make
How
it
do
look
you-
like an accident?
Yes, exactly. Like, that's dangerous stuff, folks. All of a sudden, the FBI's at your door or something like that. So creepy or clever, 100% of people here in the studio say it's clever. 100% of those polled on my Twitter at Robbie Ferguson said that is creepy.
Really?
Yeah.
Such polarizing results.
Polarizing poll there.
And so if you visit our Facebook channel, you see that my son says, why are you whispering? And I said, well, because I'm afraid the NSA are listening. And he laughed, and I laughed, and Amazon Echo laughed. And with that, we'll be right back, everybody. We've got a great show planned for you. We've got a lot to do. We are going to be converting a MicroSIM into a NanoSIM for about the same price as just buying a new SIM, and then you got to go through all the hoops, but we're going to save you those hoops. And also, we are going to be looking at how to correct the colorization, the white balance on a photo that has no...
white.
How do you do it?
We'll find out.
We sure will. Stick around. For a limited time, get your hands on limited edition shirts from the Category 5 TV network. These high-quality shirts are manufactured by Teespring, a fundraising website, and your purchase will help support the shows we produce. Get yours today and send us your pictures to be featured on the corresponding show. Visit cat5.tv/shirts to support us and get your official network shirt today. cat5.tv/shirts. Welcome back, everybody. It is Category 5 Technology TV. This is episode number 608. I'm Robbie.
I'm Sasha.
And I'm Jeff.
Nice to have you here. And today, we are looking at the GNU Image Manipulation Program. Now, we've looked at this in the past, and Sasha, you mentioned, hey, this is like when we looked at white balance and fixing
Right.
the colors.
Exactly. There was like a series of like pictures of bathrooms and bedrooms, and we
Yeah.
had white. We selected the white, and then so now we're not having white.
Well,
right?
white balance is a fantastic tool for photographers and for
Which you need
editors. you have to have something white in the shot.
Yeah.
And I've suggested that what I will do is I'll actually take like an 8.5 by 11 piece of white paper, which I know is as close to white as I'm going to get, and I'll put it kind of off to the corner of the shot as I'm taking the picture, if I know that there's nothing in this photo that's going to be white.
Right.
Or I'll just make sure that there is something that's going to be white. But what happens if you're in a place that doesn't have any white? Is there such a place?
There's got to be.
Name one.
The forest?
The deep, dark depths of the forest.
And the
deep
sea.
I guess like if it's a little bit
maybe
dark.
If you took like
there's
an internal picture on, say, a car or something that's got like a black and gray interior.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
And you know
like
what's going to happen there, and we learned this the last time we looked at white balances. What happens there, Jeff, is that your camera is going to interpret the bright light coming in from the window as white.
Yes.
Because it has no white to interpret. So it's going to say, well, this is as close to white as I can get. That's my white balance. And then everything is off.
Yeah.
The colorization is off. And if you're not aware of that tutorial that we taught how to then correct that, make sure you click on the links, which I'll post below if you're watching this on any of our online platforms. If you're watching this on cable TV or another platform where you just don't have access to those links, please visit our website, category5.tv, and do a quick search for GIMP, which is short for the GNU Image Manipulation Program, and that's going to help you to find those tutorials. And there are loads of them.
Right.
We've done a lot. So today we're going to look at, hey, what happens if, great suggestions in the chat room. Maybe you two can keep track of what's going on in the chat room. Noman5 makes a couple of good ones.
Oh, yeah. Caves and tunnels.
Caves and tunnels.
They don't have white.
Yeah.
that is true.
Yeah. If you're driving through a tunnel and you happen to snap a picture, where's your white balance coming
You've
from?
got nothing.
Taking pictures at night.
Taking pictures at night? Where's your
fireworks, stars, the moon, that kind of stuff.
The moon is
The
white.
moon is white. As
Not
white as
necessarily.
can be.
Not if you get a blood moon.
Then it's
Oh, what happens then? Then your blood moon just looks white.
right.
And it's just
It's
a
not
moon.
a blood moon. It's just
like,
a moon.
I swear to you, this was a blood moon when I took it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what happens when you don't have anything to white balance off of?
What
So-
does happen, Robbie?
Well, let's actually get into it, Sasha. Thank you for that little lead-in. The segues here
was
are
so
just
cheesy.
Oh, it's
My goodness.
no cheesy. Come on, Jeff. That was
Wow.
pro. I'm going to head over to Pexels.com. I love Pexels.com because it's a free service that allows you to grab stock photos for how much, Sasha? How much monies are we going to spend today?
No monies today.
No monies today. Just throwing stock photos at you. Absolutely free. I mean, if you've got a blog or anything at all, jump onto Pexels.com. This is a free service for you to be able to grab some stuff. I'm going to do a quick search for warehouse. And I'm doing this because I know a warehouse is probably a place where there's not necessarily going to be a lot of white. Some of these shots, yeah. Like here's a good example, Jeff, of that dark shot where the window has been interpreted as white.
Right.
But it's very undersaturated. It's very black and white. So, I could adapt that and touch it up. But you see what I mean? Those windows are what it's thinking is white.
Yeah.
Right? Now this shot, I mean, obviously
there's no white there.
yeah, there's a lot of white. So the camera is saying, everything's white, let's make it white. Let's make it look like a hospital room. So that's not a good example either. But you feel like?
I feel like we should probably look up like a tunnel or a cave.
Ooh, what about the one in the bottom corner? There's no light there.
Well, that's no light. But what we're looking for specifically is like that
white.
room that is missing white.
That one's blue.
That one is an example that really clearly shows, hey, the camera has said the light coming in from the outside is white, and so let's color balance to that.
Right.
The lights, the fluorescent tube lights are white. That's what the camera's telling
really
us.
would be gray in reality.
Yeah. And we know that fluorescent tube lights, unless they're like 6,000 K,
They're yellow.
they're going to be yellow. They're going to be 3,200 K in a warehouse like that. So, and when I'm talking about that, I'm talking about the color balance of those lights. So we know that the colorization of that particular photo, this particular warehouse photo, is completely off.
Right.
It's got a lot of blue. What say we free download that stuff and start playing around? I'm going to bring that up. Okay, there we go. I'm going to bring this up into the GNU Image Manipulation Program, which is a free program. You can get at gimp.org. And convert that to my screen's color palette, and there we go. So we've got loads and loads of blue. So where are we going to start? I mean, we don't have any white to sample. So we learned the last time that if we right-click and we go Colors, Levels, and we choose White Balance, and then we select something that should be white. Well, what's supposed to be white in this photo? I don't know. You're like, is the pillar white? No, I doubt it. And see what the camera has done is it said that that window is white, or the light is white. It's very inaccurate. And so that demonstrates for us what you and I were describing, which is if the white balance is off and it can't detect the white balance, there is no white, it's going to skew the photo towards some other spectrum, be it blue or yellow or magenta. And so that's what you end up with, is this photo that gets uploaded to Pexels that is so blue, it's obviously wrong.
Yeah, it's a funny blue factory.
So we looked at levels, and that's the first starting point that we're going to look at this week as well. We're not going to touch any of the levels themselves. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to actually adapt for not the white balance, because we don't have white, but you said it at the top of this. What color should this photo be?
It should be gray.
Gray. Yes. He nailed it. You nailed it. Nicely
so smart.
done.
Hopefully I didn't hurt your arm.
So, well, I'm being careful, and that wasn't a hard hit.
All right.
So we mentioned, Sasha, that we've got black, we've got gray, and we've got white.
Right.
So which one are we going to choose? Jeff, any guesses? You weren't here, but any guesses?
Gray.
Yes. So we're actually we're not going to go with white balance because we don't have any white to balance based on. But we can correct what the camera thinks was white by saying, let's pick a gray point within this photo. So I'm clicking on gray, and now let's say the floor. Are you ready for this?
Sure.
3,
okay, let's do this.
2, 1, click.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Your thing. Your thing.
Click again.
So anticlimactic.
Yeah,
That was
I know.
amazing.
This is how we do things around here. 3, 2, 1, click.
Yes.
Okay, that looks legit.
That's
Wait a minute.
awesome.
What?
Wow.
Could it be that easy?
Yeah, it can.
Yeah, it can,
Yeah.
she says. So just like when we were doing white balance, what am I going to do? I'm just going to kind of move around the photo until that's got too much green. That's got too much green. That's pretty
That's
good.
Yep.
Looking good. So I'm going to say, okay, I'm happy there.
Yeah.
That's my happy place.
Why didn't
okay.
they just do that before they put that picture in?
Yeah, well, then see, so we can correct that. They put it up for us, Sasha, but you want to correct this before you use the photo. And this is just a great example of a photo that came off the camera and got uploaded. And that's what you're going to encounter as you're taking photos. You're going to encounter things where it's like, I don't remember it being so blue. But that's what the camera shows me. That's the photo. So these are not raw photos. These are JPEGs. And this gives us an opportunity to correct that.
You know what's funny about that photo?
What is it?
We were looking at it going, oh, what would be white in there? I don't think there's anything in there. I had no clue those stupid pylons were in there because it was so blue.
You didn't even
Right.
see
I didn't even see them. Now
the
I'm looking
orange
at it going,
pylons.
Oh, that should have been white. Like
Yeah.
little strips.
There they are. Look at that.
Wow.
And they just kind of pop out now.
Yeah.
But I still see a couple of things. Now, I'm zoomed in a little bit here, but I see, for example, those air ducts at the top.
Have a slight blue.
They've got like a blue kind of greeny hue. So let's take it to the next level. I'm going to right click. So now we're stepping away from that one tool, the levels tool that we've been using to get our balance. Now we're going to step into colorization. So this is where we can really tweak things. So we want to pull that down a little bit. So the next step is I'm going to adjust what's called the color balance. So just up here in colors, color balance, I'm going to grab my shadows. See this? So I've got shadows, midtones, and highlights. First of all, let's start with shadows. And I've got blue, yellow. So this is the spectrum. So if I pull toward blue, it's going to go really blue. If I pull toward yellow, it's going to go really yellow. But if
that looks right.
Yeah, that's the one. But if I find that happy medium where I've pulled out just enough blue, but I haven't fallen toward the yellow spectrum, I can just kind of get it in there. It's not going to be much of an adjustment, 6.4 on the negative. and I need to be clear that the numbers that we're approaching here, the numbers that we're hitting, are specific to this photo. It's going to be different for yours.
Right.
What we're learning here is not the end-all be-all solution to every photo issue.
Right.
We're learning technique.
Right, the tool that you can use for your particular photo.
Yeah, and it may differ.
Now, when you're adjusting this, I feel like you were looking at the main photo.
I really am, Jeff. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, the reason you wanted to adjust is because the ductwork color was off. So would it
good point. Good point.
Would it not have made sense to focus in on the ductwork to get the color on that right, to adjust everything else?
I want to be careful that I'm not affecting the entire photo in such a way that it turns yellow because I've pulled enough blue out of the ductwork. So I want to find that happy balance. Okay.
Right, okay.
So let's take a look at that. Let's bring out. See what happens if I go too far in the spectrum.
Yeah.
That ductwork, if we concentrate on that, is turning to like a yellowy green.
Yes.
So even going down a little bit in the photo, so making the photo lose some of that blue tinge, is not really affecting the blue in the ductwork.
Correct.
So the next step, Jeff, is I'm going to jump into mid-tones, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. And I'm going to pull down a little bit. Now that's fallen again too far toward yellow, so I'm just going to be very, very careful that I'm a little more subtle with that. There we go. Okay, now highlights. That's where things start to get exciting. Pull that down a little bit. You want to look at that ductwork, but at the same time, I'm looking at the whole photo. I don't want to pull too much blue out. Look at that.
That almost looks like you knew what it looked like originally.
That's looking pretty good.
Yeah.
Now, one final thing. As you mentioned, there is still too much blue in the top here.
Now, could that be because maybe there was like a studio light or something that they were using to illuminate things?
No, I think it all stems from the fact that we've got 3,500 Kelvin lighting.
Right.
So
Okay, fair
we've
enough.
got fluorescent tube lighting that is toward what spectrum? You said it.
I did? Yellow?
Yellow.
Yellow.
Right? We all know that fluorescent tube lighting falls toward the green-yellow end of the spectrum.
Right.
So you remember when we're looking at saturations and everything, what does the slider say? We've got blue on one side, and what color on the other?
Yellow.
Yellow. So if the camera has compensated for the amount of yellow in the lighting by pushing toward the blue spectrum, what do we end up with?
A really blue photo.
Exactly. So in order to compensate for that, we need to pull back on that blue to bring it back into the actual reality of the spectrum, which is yellow.
Right.
Right? So let's look at what our final step here is going to be. And again, this is a tutorial that you can do in a matter of moments. Like, we're showing you this, and it's very, very quick in order to correct this photo. And so I'm going to right click and I'm going to go colors, and this time I'm going to go hue saturation, and watch what happens here as I select blue, the B channel, and start bringing down the saturation. Okay, I'm going to bring that right down, and the saturation really starts to look, it's getting there. Okay, now I'm not going to stop there. Now I've brought that all the way down because the blue is pretty heavy, and bringing it down doesn't seem to make a whole lot of difference. So that means I need to actually pull toward the cyan end of the spectrum. So I'm going to actually click on cyan as well, and now pull the saturation down on that slowly, and watch what happens. And see what starts to happen. And now, see that ductwork up at the top?
Yeah, that's more
It starts to turn, it's kind of like a silver. I want to pull a little bit of yellow out of that photo as well. So I collect yellow on the spectrum. I'm going to desaturate a little bit just to pull out, what am I doing? I'm not pulling the yellow out of the photo. I'm bringing back the amount of yellow in the lighting without pulling toward the blue end of the spectrum. So now, as clean as that is, I've got this photo. Look at this, folks. Look at the ductwork.
That looks good.
That looks silver. We've got natural yellow coming in from those windows. Not white. It's not white.
Right.
It's a natural sunlight. It's like a yellowy hued light.
Right.
Is it possible to paste the original just slightly beside it so you can see the stark difference now?
Sure. Yeah, what I can do here, Jeff, you guys want to see that? I think Jeff wants to show you this. So I'm going to save this as, and I'm going to call this an XCF file. And then I'm going to open the original file. You guys are going to be mind blown as soon as I open this. Ready? Okay, that was our starting point, folks. Do you remember that? I'm going to paste that in on top. So that was our starting point with a photo that was not a raw image. This was a JPEG image. So this is a compressed image. So now that's what it looked like. I'm going to bring down the opacity of that. Ready? Here we go. We're going to fade into our edited version.
That's amazing.
And there we go.
Great.
So we have corrected not only the white balance, but we've actually corrected, like, look at how natural that sunlight looks coming in there.
Yeah,
it's got that
good.
beautiful natural look. Jump back to the original photo. What do we see? And you may not have seen it right off the bat. You may have thought that was a natural looking photo until you suddenly see our edited version, which only takes a few moments to do that.
And then we find out that they actually painted the thing blue.
It was actually, it was actually a blue warehouse. There were blue lights. Who knew? But the fact is if you take that little extra moment with each of your photos, so you're going to be printing photos, you're going to be posting them on your blog, you're going to be posting them on Facebook or on Twitter or wherever you post your photos for family and friends. If you just take that extra couple of moments to just color correct it, tweak it a little bit, you're going to find that you're going to end up with way better results.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely. So I hope you've enjoyed that tutorial. We're going to be right back. When we come back, I'm going to be showing you how to convert a MicroSIM into a NanoSIM, making your old phone card work in a new phone. Stick around.
Whether you shop on ThinkGeek, GearBest, B&H Photo Video, eBay, or Amazon, or even if you want a free trial of Audible, you'll find the best deals and support the shows we produce by simply visiting the shopping sites you already frequent by using the links on our website. Visit category5.tv/partners for the full and ever-growing list and help us create more free content like this show. Thank you for shopping with our partners, and thank you for watching.
Welcome back, everybody. Jeff, Sasha, have you ever upgraded your phone?
Yes.
And what happens when you do that? Is it an onerous process in order to get your phone service transitioned over?
Generally, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
What do you go through?
I don't like upgrading my phone simply for that purpose. There's nothing I hate more than having to redo everything.
Yeah.
What if you have to change your phone number because you got a new SIM? Have you ever had that happen?
Done that, yes.
Yeah.
Annoying.
Frustrating as anything. Now, way back on Category 5 Technology TV, episode number 385.
That was way back.
Yeah, I took a SIM and I used a template in order to, for free, modify that SIM into a MicroSIM and install it in this phone for my wife.
Cool.
Okay.
That was cool. Now time has gone on and the screen starts to feel really tiny on this little Samsung Galaxy LTE.
Yeah.
And you realize, okay, now it's time to upgrade. Let's get on to something a little nicer, like I got a BlackBerry Priv kicking around. So let's stick the SIM card in that. It's a MicroSIM now because I converted it manually.
Okay.
But the BlackBerry Priv or any modern phone is going to be a what? NanoSIM. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, like we're talking taking it from this to this, which was easy to do manually, but then we're taking it down to this.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't X-Acto knife that.
You might be able to, but there's a little bit of a risk involved. So the fact is you can transition your plan over to a new SIM. You can contact the phone provider. You can actually port your number over to a new SIM, and you can go through that process, and it'll be fine. Costs you $10 for the new SIM.
Yep.
Cost you what, half hour to an hour on the phone to actually get them to do that for you, or in the store if you happen to deal with a store. Now we use pay as you go, so it's not a store. It's like a virtual, like, it's phone based and you buy your card minutes at a gas station kind of thing. But it's a great deal. So, what do you go through? So $10 plus the time, plus possibly like, hey, maybe it won't work or whatever else. what if we could take this now? So we've got the MicroSIM. Let's turn it into a NanoSIM. But how can we do that? Because as you say, it's a little bit harder to do that manually with an X-Acto knife because you're now getting really, really close to the SIM chip. And if you get a little bit off, you might actually damage it. We want to be careful.
Right.
So
I feel like we should be saying, don't try this at home.
Do try this at home. If you head over to cat5.tv/sim, and I'm going to jump over here. If you guys want to transition me over to this camera, I'm going to show you what I've come up with. So at cat5.tv/sim, we've got a MicroSIM cutter. So this is all that we need. Now, okay, I said $10 is all it's going to take in order to do, like, buy a new SIM, right? And then you got to go through the onerous process of adapting your account and porting your number and all that stuff. Well, this is the same price, give or take $1 or $2, and you don't need to do that because we're going to use the same SIM. I'm getting it in the box here. We've got a cutter here. We've got what looks like some adapters.
Okay.
We've got a SIM ejection tool. And that is all that's in the box. So let's get in here. So for the same price, I'm going to be able to take that SIM, that MicroSIM at this point. I've converted it already. There we go. I've got another tool and another batch of adapters. So if I go too small, I can then up convert it to something bigger. Cool. All right. So this is all it is, folks. cat5.tv/sim, and what this does, and now this is, you got to watch when you're buying these things because some of them will just do a particular type of SIM card, but what this actually does is it converts a SIM to a MicroSIM or a MicroSIM to a NanoSIM, and it will actually punch those out just like a hole punch. All right, that's the theory. Is it going to work? Let's actually get into the phone and let's see what's involved here. I want to see, like, is this actually doable, Jeff? Do you think?
I feel like saying it has to be, otherwise they wouldn't have marketed the product.
Yeah, why would we be doing a show about this if it didn't work? Yeah, I hear you.
I feel, though,
that's the question, like, we ask a lot of times.
You have to make sure you don't put it in backwards or upside down.
Yeah, absolutely. But as you know, a SIM card is not going to go in backwards or upside down. Right. So this is the SIM card, the MicroSIM that I created from a SIM.
Right.
You see how close I already am to the circuitry? I don't want to risk it using an X-Acto knife. I want to use a tool that is going to actually punch this into a proper NanoSIM.
This is cool.
So this device, obviously I'm going to be able to reuse this. This is apparently going to convert this to the proper size for the phone. So let's pop it in there.
You've put it in the right way, obviously.
Well, obviously, Jeff, obviously. Would I ever mess something like that up?
Jeff is freaking out a little bit because you did not read the directions.
All right, so
okay,
are there any directions?
My mind. I feel like you just need to say, okay, see how this little notched corner? That's how you know it's in the right, like...
I don't know.
I feel like stupid.
Just shove it in. Just shove it in. Just put it in.
Anxiety going on over here.
There are no instructions here, folks. This is a risk that I'm going to take on your behalf because, hey, made in China and no instructions whatsoever. I didn't see a manual.
Okay.
That's all there is to it, my friends.
It's like the anti-Jeff device. There's no instructions.
Okay. Well, what do we know about a MicroSIM? Or a NanoSIM, I should say. Wow. I mean, the chip itself is the same on all size SIMs.
Right.
Okay, that's a little bit tighter there. But it's the shape of the... Oh, this is making me nervous too now that you've said it. All right. It has a little diagram on here.
Oh, that's the instructions.
That is the instructions.
Like IKEA.
Right.
See how it's got that notch?
Yeah.
Yep.
So I see the notch.
Okay.
And I know which way to put it in. There are no hints as to, okay, well, obviously I can tell by looking at the size that one is going to actually punch out, that one is going to punch out a MicroSIM because it fits perfectly.
Right.
So here's a SIM to a MicroSIM.
Does Becca know you're doing this?
Oh, I hope she doesn't because she's nervous right now. All of her contacts, all of her text messages, everything are on here.
Right.
This is a smaller SIM.
Marriage
I
advice,
am-
ask for permission before you do this.
I am getting sweaty.
NanoSIM, MicroSIM, NanoSIM. I don't know. They all run together. There we go.
Maybe, yeah, cut it as the micro first and then transition it down to the nano.
I would like to point out the chat room is not having a lot of faith in you right about now.
They don't believe in me?
It's not you. It's the process.
It's the process.
So which one should you be going into?
I want to go into
Because
the
you keep
small-
switching
okay.
between the two.
That's what I want to see. Okay, so let's get into the phone itself. All right, they've included this tool to eject the SIM port. There we go.
Okay.
There we are. So that's how
Oh.
tiny we need to get.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So let's look at the SIM, the micro SIM,
Okay.
and see that, okay, that needs to fit in there.
Just
Right?
So there is
Just the
no
chip.
room for error.
zero wiggle room.
Hokey doodle.
feel like we
Okay,
need Mission
so that's from the phone.
Impossible music or
Now let's look at these as well. So we've got the 3 different adapters here that they've included. So if I were to put my micro SIM on that, you can see, okay, that's going to turn it into a SIM. This one here is going to turn a micro SIM or a nano SIM into a SIM. This one here is going to turn a nano SIM into a micro SIM. See, this is the thing. The chip is the same on each. It's the size of the actual card.
Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So, hoo-wee. Do we try?
Did you back it up?
You can't back it up. Come on now. This is it. This one here with a micro SIM in here feels pretty tight. Like that feels like a good fit. And if I look at this, okay, that looks pretty good, right?
Okay.
Like that's not right.
Of all the shows we've done, this one is giving me extreme anxiety right now.
Is this giving you anxiety?
This is
Well,
like
you might as
killing
well
me.
cut it the smallest, right? Because you can always adapt it bigger.
This one, okay, so this cutter is going to take a SIM and turn it into a nano SIM. This one is going to take a nano SIM or a micro SIM and turn it into a nano SIM. This one is going to take a SIM and turn it into a micro SIM. You guys follow me? SIM to micro SIM, micro SIM to nano SIM, SIM to nano SIM. Okay? So I'm going to put my micro SIM in the middle here. Make sure she's aligned up the way that I want. Make sure that it matches the diagram on this side. Okay. Sasha, why are you talking like that? You don't.
This is like
you don't
watching
trust
a
me.
really awkward TV show. I'm
my
just like,
gosh.
I want to turn away.
Okay. And ready?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I'm nervous.
It's going to pop right out.
Oh, there is no coming back from that.
There's no coming back from that, folks. So what I was saying is for $10 you can buy a new SIM that you're going to have to go through all the hoops. Same price. And I can reuse that and I can redo this as many times as I want.
Yeah, but for $10, I don't have this anxiety.
Okay, folks. Here we go.
Okay, this is going to work.
Nano SIM into the phone's adapter. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Into the phone.
This is better than doing it with an X-Acto knife.
It's safer, I would imagine so.
Yeah, speak for yourself. I'm dying over here.
Are you? Okay. Get it in there.
That seems like a really tight fit.
It's not coming
Well,
back.
it's got the SIM in there now. Hooey. When we come back, we're going to see if we've got a signal. Stick around. Okay, breathe. Welcome back.
I am so nervous right now.
I'm going to work my way around here. You guys can attest to the fact that all we've done is turned it on, took a commercial break, and here we are. We're back.
Right.
Okay, so back
All
over
right.
the unboxing.
Back over to the unboxing camera. And ladies and gentlemen,
Oh,
okay.
my goodness.
Are we ready?
Yes.
Jeff, are you breathing?
I'm trying to. So the phone's booted.
The phone is booted. As you can see. Make sure there's not... Yeah, everything's good. Now...
So do you have like contacts on the SIM?
Oh, yeah. Look.
Okay.
This is good.
Oh, no service, but as you saw...
Yes.
Okay.
So is there data on the SIM? Like, did you upload contacts and stuff to it, or...
Well, let's...
Not that we want to see all your contacts on air, but...
Oh, boy. Okay, here's what we're going to do.
Don't say,
my
oh
friends.
boy. It's stressing me out.
Okay. Okay. Dial your number.
My number?
Yeah, dial your smartphone number.
Okay.
You guys ready? Turn your ringer on.
It's on silent, but...
Okay.
Cellular network not available.
Okay, hold on. Because it's there.
Uh-oh.
No. It's going to work for us.
I'm freaking out.
Why are you freaking out? Come on. Baby, I love you.
I see that she is live right now.
Put the kids to bed, hon. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. It's hot in here. That's why we're
Probably
sweating.
just redial, right?
Can you?
Okay.
Okay, it says it's dialing.
Yes. It's dialing. And
Is it ringing?
it's...
I am getting a phone call.
You're getting a phone call.
I am getting a phone call.
My marriage is saved.
I'm just gonna decline that
Oh, yeah.
and just like, oh my goodness.
That
So for the same price as buying a SIM without having to go through any of the stress, right? We were able to punch out a new NanoSIM. Jeff will get back to normal after about 10 minutes and
Homeostasis.
he'll be fine.
You are evil.
guess what you're getting for Christmas?
Just
cat5.tv/sim. And if you do it just like that, your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, boyfriend, your friend, whatever, can react like that. And then you just be like, magic.
Yeah.
So you can convert a SIM to a MicroSIM to a NanoSIM, and now all of a sudden your SIM is compatible with any phone. Doesn't
That's
matter
right.
what it is. You don't have to bow to the network to order a new SIM or get them to port things over. It's just one card, and it works in every device thanks to that little hole punch that I can now reuse. So if anyone needs to use that, hey, its work is done here.
Do I like look white because I feel like I'm just like flushed? There's
so
no
white.
blood pumping through my face right now.
That's funny.
It works, ladies and gentlemen. cat5.tv/sim. Yes! Pulled it off. All right, so we're going to jump over to the newsroom. Sasha, if you're ready for it.
I am.
All right.
Here are the stories we're covering this week in the Category 5.tv newsroom. An open source bug poses a dangerous threat to sites running on Joomla, Drupal, or Typo 3. A zero-day exploit in WhatsApp has been used in targeted spyware attacks. Surprise! Microsoft has sent out free remote desktop security patches for antiquated systems from Windows XP up to Server 2008 in an effort to prevent a possible WannaCry-like attack. San Francisco is the first U.S. city to ban facial recognition. These stories are coming right up. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Category 5.tv newsroom, covering the week's top tech stories with a slight Linux bias.
Jeff Weston,
Yeah, man.
you're building a brand new, beautiful website,
What?
aren't you?
No. Am I?
Oh, you're a terrible actor.
What?
This is where acting comes into play.
Oh, I didn't know we were acting.
You're supposed to act.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
Yeah, I'm building a really cool website. Are you building a really cool website? Just because Jeff is confused doesn't mean you have to be. Visit cat5.tv/dreamhost to sign up for unlimited web hosting for your website with unlimited email accounts, MySQL databases, the latest version of PHP, WordPress, and more, and even a free domain name registration. It's less than $6 per month, so sign up today. cat5.tv/dreamhost.
I'm Sasha Rickman, and here are the top stories we're following this week. An open source bug poses a dangerous threat to sites running Joomla, Drupal, or Typo 3. Developers and security researchers are warning that websites running the Drupal, Joomla, or Typo 3 content management systems are vulnerable to attacks that could possibly execute malicious code until administrators install just released patches. The vulnerability resides in the Farstream wrap, a PHP component developed and open sourced by CMS maker Typo 3. The flaw stems from a path transversal bug that allows hackers to swap a site's legitimate FAR archive with a malicious one. A FAR archive is used to distribute a complete PHP application in a library or a single file, in much the way a Java archive file bundles many Java files into a single file. Drupal developers rated the severity of the vulnerability affecting their CMS as moderately critical. That's well below the highly critical rating of a recent Drupal vulnerability and an earlier remote execution flaws that took the name Drupalgeddon. Still, the vulnerability represents enough of a risk that administrators should patch it as soon as possible. On Drupal, where the exploit was first detected, an attacker would have to have limited administrator privileges, such as those given to marketing people or graphic designers. However, some community modules might be vulnerable because of this flaw in the Drupal core. Joomla developers, meanwhile, issued their own advisory that rated the severity as low. Typo 3 developers didn't provide a severity rating for their own CMS. Drupal users should update to the latest point release right away. Patches have been issued for versions 7, 8.6, and 8.7. On Joomla, the flaw affects versions 3.9.3 through 3.9.5, and the fix is available in 3.9.6. Typo 3 CMS users should either upgrade to Farstream wrap versions v3.1.1 and v2.1.1 manually, or ensure composer dependencies are raised to those versions.
Okay. That was a mouthful.
Yeah.
It was.
Like,
Way
I'm
to
just
go.
listening
Thank
to you talk,
you.
I'm like, that's like a Dr. Seuss book right there.
And it's warm in here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, how many websites
No, it's not as freezing.
run
What are you
off-
talking about?
How many websites run off Drupal and Joomla?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I feel
Right.
like those are the go-to that people
You may not
build.
even know. Well, WordPress is there too,
Yes.
but it's not affected by this particular exploit.
Yeah.
But so if you're not familiar with Drupal, Joomla, or Typo 3, you can think a la WordPress. Same kind of idea. But you think about, okay, well, they have to have administrator access to some degree in order to exploit this. But what does that mean? Well, every customer who has ever called me and said, I want to be able to edit my phone number myself whenever it changes, they have access to doing that.
Yep.
Right.
They don't always have the strongest of passwords, let alone the best of security mindedness necessarily. So it's not just the super administrators who know their way around these platforms. It's the people who are editing their website for them who may be a very lower level employee or even like a co-op student or something who has access to changing things on their website for them.
But
Right.
not only that,
It's very common.
You have small business owners that typically will try and use an easy-to-use platform to create their own website.
Yeah.
And quite often they'll
Yeah.
use something like Drupal, throw the extensions in, get this site up, and then walk away. Like, I never have to update the content, so I can just leave it sitting there and not paying attention to this stuff.
No.
So for those that have a Drupal-based, Joomla-based, or the other one I'm blanking on what it was.
Typo 3.
Typo 3 site. Did they get an alert? Did they get something from their ISP?
This is your alert.
This is it. This is
Okay,
the
there you
official
go.
warning.
Joomla alert. If you're using Joomla, upgrade to
Okay.
something else.
Yeah. I'm surprised that they said it's not a severe vulnerability.
I think it's funny that they have certain levels of severe.
Yes.
There's low severe, low critical. Like, this is a critical issue. It really is critical in that, as I say, like, a lot of companies have lower level employees who have access to their
Right.
their content.
It should be safe or unsafe. At this point,
Yeah.
unsafe.
This is really
Switch it to safe.
like,
Yeah.
let's just say it's critical update.
And I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, there's a difference between, by the way, anybody can do
Yeah.
this on your site versus somebody needs to have some sort of admin access to make this happen. So there's a couple more steps that have to be applied before
Sure.
this exploit can be utilized. So I can understand why they're saying it's not quite end of the world, issues.
Like Drupalgeddon.
Like Drupalgeddon, but definitely not something you want to have sitting around for too long. And especially if you don't have secure passwords. I mean, how many people like, oh my goodness, there's so many sites, they're all the same password, I just add a number at the end. Come on!
Hey now.
Password 1234. But does that not make us complacent? By believing that this is critical, but it's not that important. It's not that dangerous. Like, let's just, this is a really serious exploit that can allow code execution on my server.
Right.
Yeah, we're not saying this is a suggestion to fix. Get it fixed.
Yeah, just update. Let's just play it safe and just update your your website for sure. Sound fair?
A 0-day exploit in WhatsApp has been used in targeted spyware attacks.
Oh.
The vulnerability that allowed attackers to install spyware on victims' phones has been patched, but it's too late for many as attackers were able to inject spyware onto phones in targeted malware campaigns. The popular messaging app discovered in early May that attackers were installing surveillance software on iPhones and Android phones by using WhatsApp's call function. WhatsApp confirmed on Monday that the flaw, which has now been patched, is a buffer overflow vulnerability in WhatsApp's VoIP stack, which allows remote access execution via a specially crafted series of secure packets sent to a target phone number. Adam Brown, manager of security solutions at Synopsys, says, quote, victims of this attack include journalists and activists. Attackers are able to use the victim's phone as a room tap, look at or change information on the phone, and find the victim's location, among other things, end quote. WhatsApp is owned by Facebook and is used by 1.5 billion people globally. The messaging platform touts itself as a secure end-to-end encryption app for communication. Security experts are urging WhatsApp users to update their apps as soon as possible.
Yikes.
Secure, right?
WhatsApp is supposed to be that secure go-to, and you mentioned your source is said that this is used by and is being exploited. People are being exploited that are like journalists and activists, and you think about journalists in dangerous scenarios. They're going to use what is known to be a secure app in order to do their communications. So,
what they didn't say is how do you identify if you have been compromised with this spyware?
Yeah, they
can you?
It's already too late for people,
right?
So just, I guess, assume you have been, especially if you're in a situation.
Sure,
but then how do you know? Like, at least with my phone, I have some monitoring software from ESET. So I'm hoping that would catch it. But I mean, if not everybody thinks to protect their phones.
Again, though, like ESET mobile security will warn you if an app is trying to gain access that you have not authorized. However, the problem is that something like WhatsApp, if you use it for encrypted phone calls,
which I have not.
But if you do, which a journalist would,
right?
What are they going to do when ESET says that, hey, this app that you're using, WhatsApp, is using your microphone? Allow.
Yes.
Right? So now that app is allowed. Right. So if that app is exploited, even with anti-malware, even with some form of protection, and even being a smart user, you have no control over the fact that, hey, you authorized the microphone to be used, and now it's actually a wiretap.
So if you suspect that you are one of the people who are affected, if you uninstall the app and do a factory reset of your phone, would that get rid of the spyware?
No, you'd lose everything.
Yeah, you would lose everything.
You almost hope that just updating the software, like the version of WhatsApp to the latest, because they've patched it. Facebook has fixed it.
Right.
But it's those versions that are susceptible that have received the packet and been exploited.
Right.
Whether it's retroactive or not, maybe that's something for you to
inquire about if you have WhatsApp and use it.
Get into the community and find out. I don't have the answer to that, Sasha, and that's an ominous thought. Like, even if you update, does that fix it? We're not, you're right. We're not hearing that.
Right. Yeah. Does it protect you for future? Yes. But does it fix what's happened in the past?
Yeah. If you've already been exploited, is it retroactive and fixes it? Or are you exploited and permanently exploited? That's the question.
Bum, bum, bum.
But it just goes to show that even an app that you think is safe, because that's what WhatsApp has promoted itself as.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep.
And you authorize it to use certain aspects of your phone, and then it's exploited. And guess what? You've given access to those malicious parties.
Yep.
Scary stuff. Surprise! Microsoft has sent out free remote desktop security patches for antiquated systems from Windows XP to Server 2008 in an effort to prevent a possible WannaCry-like attack. It's that time of the month again, and Microsoft has released a bumper bundle of security fixes for Patch Tuesday. But this time, they've done something outside the norm by including patches for out-of-support operating systems such as Windows XP and Server 2003. Usually, support for such aging operating systems costs big bucks for companies who want to keep running it, but Microsoft has released a freebie because of the serious nature of a critical flaw in remote desktop services or terminal services as it was. The vulnerability allows remote code execution with no user involvement or any authentication required, making it a gift to anyone wanting to spread malware. Basically, find one of the countless vulnerable Windows boxes facing the internet or on a network and send a carefully crafted packets to its remote desktop service, if running, to start executing malicious code on the machine. From there, other computers can be found by scanning IP ranges, and then you've got a proper old-school worm on your hands. A Microsoft advisory states that because the vulnerability can be wormable, any future malware that exploits it could propagate from vulnerable computer to vulnerable computer in a similar way as the WannaCry malware spread across the globe in 2017 using the Eternal Blue NSA exploit. Microsoft warns that it is highly likely malicious actors will write an exploit for this vulnerability and incorporate it into their malware. It's important that affected systems are patched as quickly as possible to prevent such a scenario from happening. It's a certainty that this will be exploited in the wild since it's a low-cost, highly effective way of quickly distributing ransomware and Trojans. Windows 8 and 10 are unaffected, but there's still a vast pool of older systems out there that could be hit if left unpatched, including Windows 7 and XP. The affected operating system builds include Windows 7, Windows Server 2008, R2, Windows Server 2008, Windows Server 2003, and Windows XP. Wow, that's a lot.
I didn't think Microsoft was still servicing those versions.
Well, they are only to companies that are paying for extended support.
Right.
Yes.
But now they're saying, okay, this is so serious that we have to patch this.
Do you think this is one of those things where it could, they could have said, oh, we won't worry about it, but the PR nightmare that could come from it, they're like, let's just roll this out for everybody?
I don't even know. Is it fully a PR thing, or is it like...
Well, I mean, if there was another WannaCry type thing...
Do they have a heart? Because I think about Windows XP. Who's still running Windows XP? It's going to be hospitals, and it's going to be like places like that have not got the budget to finally get onto current hardware.
Governments typically are very behind.
Absolutely.
So
we know that.
Yeah.
So, but a hospital, as the example, which has been hit in the UK by WannaCry, and that affects lives and endangers lives.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if all these machines, which, maybe they're old, like heart monitors and who knows what else, and what if they're impacted by that? So, it's just got to be patched. I mean, we know we shouldn't be running Windows XP. We probably shouldn't be running Windows 7 at this point. Do keep in mind, if you have Windows 7 installed on any of your machines, end of life is January. So, we're very fast approaching that end of life.
It's smart that they do this because it protects everybody, from the spread, right? Because it's not just going to affect the older versions. It would, I guess, self-propagate.
Well, you're right that if, let's say we've got that one Windows XP machine in the back room and we think, oh, well, nobody uses that, so, just don't worry about it and never think twice about it, but that's the one that's going to be exploited.
Right.
And guess what? It's on the same LAN, it's on the same network as your best computers.
Right.
And in a hospital environment, all of your hospital computers, all of your point of sales in a store, all of everything that you have is connected to that same network.
Yep. And
Right.
in the chat room, Alpac just mentioned that, a lot of ATMs.
Absolutely.
I mean, I remember
you
covering
still
that
see
in a
it.
news story.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Anytime there's a blue screen of death at an ATM, I laugh because it's still Windows XP. Airports. Airports
Yes.
are still using XP on some of their system. I mean, not the best modern airports, but not every airport is the best. They're not all Pearson International.
Right.
So these are, they've put in there hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of computer hardware that still works. So why should we change that?
Mm-hmm.
Why should we put hundreds of thousands of dollars more into it when it's still working?
Yep.
And there's no budget for that in a lot of cases, not necessarily with an airport, but I'm just giving examples where, we end up with older hardware or older software and we're susceptible.
Still, got to get it fixed.
It's true. It's good
Yes.
that Microsoft is actually stepping up and doing that, because it really could lead to disaster.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to note, because this is a remote desktop exploit, I just want to say that remote desktop in and of itself is not a safe thing to have turned on your computer.
Correct.
Anyways,
Right.
turn it off. Don't ever turn it on. And the reason I say that, there are tools that allow you to remote into your computers that are safe, that if somebody tries to attack it, will block them. Remote desktop, on the other hand, is a service on your computer that, when turned on, allow you to connect to your computer from home. However, there's no security.
That's right.
If your password is anything, and your password could easily be guessed by a bot
Yeah.
on your computer. So think about this for a second. They're going to connect, they find them through the internet, they find computers that have RDP running, and they start guessing at the password. You never know. You would never know that they're trying to guess at your password. And come 2 o'clock in the morning, when they finally gain access to your computer and you're at home in bed, they can wreak all kinds of havoc, because guess what? Your computer also has access to the server on your network and everything else. So now your network is completely compromised. And people say, well, how did I get ransomware? I've got antivirus. Because you also had RDP enabled. And you've allowed an actual party to hack into, using a bot, your computer, and then a real person got in, because the bot now notifies them and says, here's the password to get into this IP address. Either they have exploited your network, or they've taken your network, they've analyzed it, figured out what kind of assets you have, and then they've sold that to a third party in order to compromise your network. Turn off remote desktop, okay?
Wow.
Just turn it off.
Yeah. San Francisco is the first U.S. city to ban facial recognition. The emerging technology will not be allowed to be used by local agencies such as the city's transport authority or law enforcement. Additionally, any plans to buy any kind of new surveillance technology must now be approved by city administrators. Opponents of the measure said that it will put people's safety at risk and hinder efforts to fight crime. Those in favor of the move said that technology as it exists today is unreliable and represented an unnecessary infringement on people's privacy and liberty. In particular, opponents argued that the systems are error-prone, particularly when dealing with women or people with darker skin. Matt Cagle from the American Civil Liberties Union in Northern California says that by banning facial recognition, San Francisco has declared that the technology is incompatible with a healthy democracy and that residents deserve a voice in decisions about high-tech surveillance. The vote was passed by San Francisco's supervisors 8-1 with 2 absentees. The measure is expected to be officially passed into law after a second vote next week.
Okay.
Okay.
It's interesting how the technology has risen up, and hey, this is the time that we live in, right?
Right. It makes me wonder, though, like, I don't know if they have a casino in the city, but a lot of casinos use facial recognition software to pick out their frequent problem clients that are banned and stuff like that.
Neat.
Makes me wonder how that would impact businesses that are utilizing it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's why some opponents to the law have called for them to, instead of banning it outright, to be to allow certain industries to allow it, for example.
Right.
But they've clamped down on it and said no.
Yeah.
Not at all.
It'd be interesting to know, I feel like I've just said that twice. But if somebody, like, if you use facial recognition, if you had to post it, you know, it's one thing to say,
Right.
oh, like, you know, this place is monitored by, you know, closed caption recording. But if it said this building uses facial recognition
We
software,
use AI.
it'd be interesting to see how that impacted things. Instead of saying, oh, we're not banning it, but you have to signify facial recognition is used. If people would go, ooh, okay.
I wonder if they would reconsider if it weren't so, I guess, unreliable. Because it's
That's it.
unreliable.
We heard in the news recently about a young man who was arrested because of facial recognition.
Right.
We don't know, was his claim that he was innocent true or false?
Right.
But what if? It raises a very big what if. What if the facial recognition was incorrect? What if you walked into a place, did your shopping, and then paid and left and went home, and then saw your face on the news because facial recognition said that you
Stole something.
from that store?
Well, I mean, any retail outlet builds shrinkage into their business model because you know you're going to have
No,
theft.
I know. That
No,
aside,
but-
though.
No, but so you take that aspect and go, what if businesses all over the place had, you know, facial recognition built into their software so it would automatically created a police report, and the fallout from this, you know, and then to see, you know, if that was in place and then with this ban on facial recognition, how would it change the game? Like, there's so many variables to it. Like, where could it have gone
Yeah.
to change industry standards versus where is it limited now?
That almost makes me think, what if they created a controlled environment and allowed the AI to go wild
Right.
and to believe, if it has any form of consciousness, to believe that it has the authority to decide who's guilty and who's innocent. And in this controlled environment where we know who's guilty and who's innocent because it's all a Truman Show, right?
Right.
Yeah.
What if we then look at those reports and say, okay, well that AI says that Sasha stole a stereo system, right? And we know she didn't.
Right.
But that's the thing. Like, what if somebody looks like you and the AI says that's
or what
you?
what if I did steal it and then I went home and got some Botox?
Or anything
Right?
like that.
And then all of a sudden my face doesn't match the face that stole it.
And if the AI, as we've learned, has problems with racial discrimination,
Yeah.
how, like, where does it, how, this is a big problem because now, okay, well, now who's safe?
So-
Like, we already deal with racial issues with, you know, guilty before proven innocent.
Right.
It's
So
like-
is this decision premature to all out ban it, or is it more a fear-based decision, or like
or is it, it's not ready yet?
It's
we
not-
are not
yeah.
going
It's a
to
protective
allow it.
piece.
Let's see how it evolves over the next little while.
Right.
And
I mean,
then
it's going to be used
reapproach
other
this.
places. San Francisco can just watch those other places
Yeah.
and see when they're ready to jump in.
right?
I like
Sure.
it.
Set up the controlled environment. Let's see if Sasha is a mastermind criminal. I believe she is. See, now that I've said that, the AI thinks you are.
Probably.
See, because
That's gonna
I,
show
I'm probably
up in
going to
your-
get
the
arrested.
things I
as soon
say
as I
are
walk out
always
the door.
true.
Maybe that's going to show up in your.
I never
answers
make a
later.
mistake.
Right.
Yes. Oh, dear. Okay, I want to take a really quick look at CoinGecko. And if you were watching the show last week, you know that we mentioned that the entire market of cryptocurrency is extremely volatile.
Yes.
You never know from week to week what is going to happen.
Last week wasn't really good for Bitcoin.
No, you know what? Last week was just kind of everything for the past few weeks has just been kind of hovering.
Bitcoin was up like $500.
Dude, you have no idea.
I
Because
thought-
last week it was just kind of hovering right there.
Okay.
And then this week, so here we are 7 days later. So you might be thinking 4 days later.
Right.
But here we are 7 days later. Cryptocurrency is going crazy. So anyone who bought last week,
Yep.
1 week ago, if you bought one Bitcoin, you gained $2,226 US dollars.
Good for you.
Wow.
I'm talking a jump from last week's $5,916.21 US to this week a Bitcoin being worth $8,142.36 US. Litecoin also gaining quite significantly from $74.31 last week to $101.59 this week. Ethereum, if you're investing or mining Ethereum, we also jumped up, gaining $71.70, which doesn't sound like a lot of money, but I mean, this is per coin, and this is a coin that last week was only $170.
Yeah.
So to gain $71.
That's almost doubling.
It's an incredible gain. Monero at 66.48 last week, gained 25.98 this week.
Wow.
And within the past 7 days is now up at $92.46. Now our little guys, Torque, aka PKA Stellite, is gaining ever so slightly. It's just the little guys, it's so cute. 1.63 10,000ths of a cent, gaining 0.44 10,000ths of a cent, and Turtlecoin also up at 1.44 10,000ths of a cent. Do remember, I mean, even though we're looking at these numbers this week and going, wow, I wish I bought a Bitcoin last week, the entire cryptocurrency market is always open. So it could change overnight. I mean, it could change at 1 a.m. and then again at 1:30 a.m.
That's right.
And you never know what's going to happen next. It's extremely volatile. You never really know what's happening. And there are too many factors as far as what's driving it right now. It has not stabilized. So if you decide to invest or mine, make sure you are extremely careful. And my suggestion is just don't invest anything that you aren't willing to lose.
Solid advice.
I like to think so.
Big thanks to Roy W. Nash and our community of viewers for submitting stories to us this week. Thanks for watching the Category5.tv newsroom. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all your tech news with a slight Linux bias. And for more free content, be sure to check out our website. From the Category5.tv newsroom, I'm Sasha Rickman.
And I'm Robbie Ferguson.
And I'm Jeff Weston.
This is Category 5 Technology TV. Don't forget to check out our website, category5.tv. So great to have you here again with us this week. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has pitched in. Now, there are a couple of different ways that you can pitch in. I mean, there's just going to our website, visiting our partner section, and doing your shopping through our links. I mean, if you're going to shop on Amazon anyways, if you're going to shop on eBay or ThinkGeek or any of our partners, Newegg, you can do that through our website, and it doesn't cost you anything, but it supports Category 5 TV. And for those of you who have decided to do that, we thank you. Also, if you are a patron, and to become a patron, you just simply go to patreon.com/category5, and that's a cool way to support us. And there are perks. You can get access to like behind the scenes videos and other things that are not available anywhere else. And that's just by donating as little as $1 a month, and it helps us to pay the bills, helps us to keep on top of our month to month. And for those of you who have decided to throw a little something extra in the tip jar, we thank you as well. This has been a very expensive time for Category 5 TV. Essentially, we've got a server that is on its way out. We've been very, very fortunate that it has held on for dear life, but it's every week getting a little worse and a little worse, and we know that it's all of a sudden going to say, you know what, I'm not even going to turn on anymore because I'm done. And we've got pretty much all the parts on order. They're not all here yet, but I've got shipment confirmations on pretty much everything that we need. There are a couple of other components that we're still looking for, and your contributions are helping us to be able to put that together. And when we get all the parts in stock, we're going to be building that here on the show, and it's going to be a lot of fun for all of us. So you can visit our tip jar at donate.category5.tv to pitch in for that, or just to show your support for Category 5, which is free, family-friendly broadcasting. But that's all the time that we have this week. I want to remind you, we are on Twitter at Category 5 TV. As I've mentioned earlier in the show, I am on Twitter at Robbie Ferguson, and I do follow back, so keep that in mind if you want to give me a follow. On YouTube, we're Category 5 TV, or you can go to linuxtechshow.com, which is just edited down clips of Category 5. So if you don't want to watch the full 1 hour, you can just watch the little 10-minute snippets here and there that are focused on on the actual features of the show, and that is linuxtechshow.com. We're on Plex, Kodi, every kind of player that you can find. We're getting news that we're on Spotify and iTunes and everything else from viewers that are listening and watching all over the world.
We're pretty much everywhere.
We are kind of everywhere. So you can find us, do a search. If you're not seeing us on your platform, just let us know, and we will we'll reach out to those platforms and see what we need to do in order to get us on there. And in the meantime, everything comes together on our website, category5.tv. That's where you can go to find more content just like this show. So we'll see you again next week. Thanks for joining us. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.